Well, hello and welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, your co-host.
Good to have you here.
Good to be here with you, my friend. Good to be here. I'm happy to be back in the studio.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been, a year and 4 months?
Yeah, and we had at least one show in the studio. This is our second one.
Yeah.
Our second or third.
Yeah.
And it's different after being out for so long.
Yeah, it's extremely different, but we're gonna make the necessary adjustments and make it work. I think we can get it done that way.
Yeah.
I think we're even going to come back better.
I think so.
Better than when we left. We already have a great show.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be better now. I think a lot of us have taken inventory through the pandemic and looked at ourselves in the glass mirror, and we see some things that we probably need to address and move forward.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about gun violence and non-fatal shootings today. But first, we've got some wonderful sponsors we want to acknowledge.
Tamiko Associates and Realty Group, and then we have Martin University, Marion County Public Health Department. Thank you for being with us again. Lee Cossell and Crawley, who's been with us for the inception of this particular show. Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes. Brothers, if you need to get clean, go see Al. Tell him Pastor Wayne Moore sent you. Northside Windows and Gutter Cleaning, great company. If you need a job, give them a call. Not only that, if you need some work done around the house, give them a shout. Fervent Care Christian Academy. If you want to get your child started out on the right path, take them to Fervent Care Christian Academy. And His Place. The catfish is phenomenal on Fridays, and they have a meatloaf that is outstanding as well.
Wow.
His Place.
And it's all good. We certainly thank God for you all as well for joining us each week. We really appreciate you. And we missed being able to address you right here like this, but thank you for supporting us while we were on the Zoom. And if you missed any of the programs, or you want to go back and listen to perhaps some things that you already heard, you can go to WHMB TV 40 on YouTube. And please be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and
like us on Facebook. We're there waiting on you.
Yeah, Facebook's always doing something new and innovative. So we want to encourage you to take full advantage of everything that's there on Facebook. We're going to be talking about gun violence
and non-fatal shootings.
And you, along with, it's the Baptist Ministers Alliance, Concerned Clergy, and the National Action Network, the local chapter, did an amazing with the presentation with the prosecutor.
Yeah, it was an amazing. He did 2 sessions for us. And I tell you, it was phenomenal. To have him do that. It was just open to the public, open to law enforcement, open to administration, just open to the community, open to civic groups, et cetera. The first session, first time we ever did it, 150 people. The second session, about 50 people. I think we got to the point to where we got an understanding in the community how to define what a non-fatal shooting is. And Ryan Mears, our prosecutor, Marion County prosecutor, brought some exceptional data that helped the community see that this is an ongoing existing problem. We average right now between 71 and 72 non-fatal shootings a month.
And let's put a pin right there because we got to go to break and come back and really, really dive into that. So stay with us. We've got a lot more on this that you need to hear. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back. And when we went to break, Dr. Moore, you said that 72, and for those of you just joining us, we're talking about gun violence and non-fatal shootings, and 72 non-fatals per month.
Per month.
It's quite a bit.
Quite a bit as it relates, just in 6 months. I mean, we're there. I mean, we're averaging about 20 homicides a month. Right now, we're at 121 in 6 months of the year. Non-fatals are just creeping up every year. A non-fatal is a bad shot, person who's a bad shooter, and the person survives because we have good trauma centers. And so that is escalating. It's way out of control. Neighboring state, Chicago, just a week ago, 3 homicides and 62 non-fatals in
One day.
One day.
Wow.
One day. So when we look at this particular situation, it's an ongoing, growing ill in all communities. It's happening all over the state of Indiana. We just don't want to say it's in Marion County. It's happening everywhere because the data is somewhat suppressed in a way to where when you realize you got that many non-fatal shootings, you can get the reputation that your city's unsafe. You know, so and then the solvability rate for non-fatals is less than 20%, 15 to 20%. So when you talk about a non-fatal shooting in Marion County, you're talking about people who are using guns and getting away with it.
And we don't often hear historically about the non-fatals. So at the end of the year, the report will go out. We had X number of homicides. Not a lot of emphasis placed on the non-fatals, but when you start looking at it holistically, those who survived, and then there's stories behind
My God.
each one of those.
Oh yeah, I mean we
and
have
the families that
yeah,
having to deal with that.
Purpose for My Pain is an organization with Miss Yates Dykes. Her son was a victim of a non-fatal, received a shot to the brain, and is considered a paraplegic, I believe it is. She could explain that better. We're going to bring her on the show and let her talk to us about that. But I'm telling you, man, it's frightening in any community to have this type of situation being out of control where you can't get it and contain it. And I think now that IMPD is trying to get some equipment to where they can begin to track this data so that they'll know where certain issues are and certain things are taking place in the city of Indianapolis and Marion County. But we're in crisis. There's nothing to deny. We're in crisis, and I believe people are doing what they can to alleviate that particular crisis. But we're having a severe gun violence issue in the state of Indiana, period.
Yeah, when we talk about gun violence, the statistic was out 32 shots per day. Only about 20% get reported.
Right.
But at 32 shots per day, shots fired. So
in a
anytime,
neighborhood.
in neighborhoods across the city. But when a bullet leaves the barrel of a gun, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And there's property damage, of course, the other week or the other day, depending on when this show is aired. There was a shooting downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah. Over 100 shots. Over 100 shots with property damage, extensive property damage. And just so happens we did not get a homicide nor a non-fatal that day.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to be desired. People think just because you talk about these type of instances that you're anti-law enforcement. No. We need every aspect of law enforcement to help. But you know what we really need? We need community participation at an alarming rate, at a large rate. We need community participation. And we have to create the system in our cities to where people are, if they see someone shooting in a neighborhood, that they're not afraid to possibly call or identify that particular situation. We have to create that system to where people, communities trust what law enforcement is doing to help eradicate this. But they've got to help community build the trust that they need.
That's a big deal right now, Dr. Moore, where you have people who are afraid to say anything. A few years ago, when Reverend Clay was on the council, there was monies that were found that would help protect people,
Witness protection program.
who might come forward with information. We haven't heard too much about that over the last couple of years or so.
Yeah.
But it's expensive to protect people because you have some dangerous people out here.
Yeah.
And I hope that the city of Indianapolis is still moving forward and finding those funds and
To even increase those funds.
increasing them.
The more the community feels secure, the more they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how law enforcement looks at it, but that's the way I look at it. And I'm hoping that can take place to where people can get to the point to where they trust holistically law enforcement to help eradicate not only homicides but non-fatal shootings.
Yeah, that's a big challenge right now.
It's a big challenge, and it's going to take all of us. I tell people all the time, it takes all of us. And I think we heard it in one of our other shows where I ought to be able to listen to you whether I agree with you or not.
Right.
And you ought to be able to listen to me whether I agree with you or not about the issue. You have an idea about it, recommendations about it. Someone else might have a recommendation about it. That's how we get to the place of coming up with some solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I see only one counselor has bought into that, and that would be in the 8th District, I believe it is, senior counselor Monroe Gray. He wants some solutions to it. He's the only one that I'm hearing at this particular time that is willing to step out and talk about let's create some solutions to it. And what those solutions are, I don't know what they are right now.
Yeah, a lot of guns out there.
Yeah.
A lot of ammunition.
Yeah.
With the non-fatals, the shots fired, the property damage,
Yeah.
the fear.
Yeah.
I posted on my Facebook the other day, wanted to know from people who follow my page in Indianapolis and other communities, but particularly Indianapolis, how often do they hear shots? And there were some, depending on where they were living, so they didn't hear any at all. Some said they heard them every day. So people, I think, who shoot or fire their guns, and it's kind of hard right now because we're
At the moment of holiday.
yeah, so you don't really know one way or another a lot of times, but it's unlawful to fire a gun in the city limits.
It is unlawful, but that's what I'm basically saying, that
People may not know that.
no, it's unlawful.
You shoot it up in the air. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And when we look at this whole scenario, this is why you have these non-fatals. I mean, people are just shooting, and some people, we had in the city earlier this year, young people being hit by stray bullets.
Children.
Children, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk more about that when we come back from break. So don't go away. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, and we are here talking about gun violence and non-fatal shootings. Big problem in America, big problem here in the city of Indianapolis. Dr. Moore, you said something profound in that first segment, and we all need to listen to one another.
Yeah, yeah.
And as I've been following different leaders on Twitter, it seems to be there's a disconnect with the mayor's office, the Fraternal Order of Police, and
Prosecutor's office,
and many of our
civic organization
leadership.
Yeah.
So that's a little different to some degree because in the time that I've been involved in community and crime prevention and all that, which is a number of years now, there's always been a tremendous amount of collaboration.
Yeah.
And it seems like we just can't get there.
I think most people won't say what I will say. We're in an era in Indianapolis of poor leadership. This prosecutor convened those who would come to talk about non-fatals. He's a prosecutor. You wouldn't think that would be pressing upon him to do that, but he did it. You would think that the administration would create that type of atmosphere to collaborate some things, or just put it out there so the communities could understand it, like this prosecutor, like Ryan Mears did, so the community could understand that it's happening at an alarming rate just as much as the homicides are. I don't know what can we do to bring collaboration. It seems like if I work with you and you work with me, and you get tapped by the administration, you pull away from me and you feel that you have no longer can collaborate with me. That is killing this city. There are certain ones that are in collaboration and certain ones who are left out of collaboration. And I think we need to understand that we need everybody in the process of collaboration to talk about these issues, because all sense is not in one head and all sense is not in micromanagement.
Yeah, and it's important. If we look at it theologically, there's safety in the multitude
Of counselors.
Of counselors.
Yeah, safety in the multitude of counselors. It doesn't say safety in selected counselors.
Right.
It says safety in a multitude of counselors. If you have an idea, come on, let's talk about it. That's what the scripture is trying to teach us, that there's somebody that whom we don't even expect probably could say something that could probably give a word or two to turn the whole situation around.
And it's interesting, I was talking to someone who used to work in local government many, many years ago, in fact, during the Hutnut years.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to listen to people, talk about how they did things back when they did things that they did. And he said one of the things that former Mayor Bill Hutnut used to say is co-opt the enemy.
He did say that.
Co-opt the enemy. And that's all we had time to talk about, but I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you may not like everybody.
Right. But you can get some knowledge from your enemy.
Yeah.
And if you consider people you consider individuals your enemy. For instance, I think one of the greatest ideas that could possibly happen is, I think it's probably a separate organization that is connected to IMPD, but I think that they ought to take Crime Stoppers to a tier concept. You have robberies, you have homicides, you have non-fatals, you have car thefts, et cetera. I think you ought to take it to a tier level. And homicides and non-fatal shootings no longer ought to be $2,000 for the information. It ought to be between $5,000 and $10,000 for the information. Those are incentives.
That's a big incentive.
Those are incentives. Who would not be looking out a window and see somebody doing some shooting and know it's safe for their community and be able to give that information to get that person off the street? It's not a snitch program.
Right.
It's if I see somebody doing something that's hurting the community in a bad way, I gotta say something about it, because if we don't, it's just going to snowball. And we gotta have a law enforcement system that helps prevent retaliation of those who talk to have a safe community. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we need that.
Well, hopefully the present administration that we have, at least for the next two and a half years.
2.5 years, yeah.
Will be open to that. We've seen it in mayors of Indianapolis before.
Mm-hmm.
There's documentation of collaborative efforts,
Mm-hmm.
all the different leaders sitting
Mm-hmm.
around and giving input. We haven't seen that so far, or if it has happened, I certainly haven't been privy to.
No, I haven't either. I mean, it has happened, but I haven't been given any invitations to that.
That's not true collaboration.
And all I'm basically saying is that does not bother me. I need to be clear about that, because if I'm going to a table, I'm going to save a life, and some things you might have to say that is going on that people might disagree with, but it probably could help. You have some ideas that probably could help. Others have ideas that probably could help. But as we look at things right now, when we look at crime prevention, I don't know how you rate it on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. It's about a 2.
Well, you're really close. I mean, according to national data,
Yeah,
on a
I look at
scale
data.
0 to 100, Indianapolis rates a 3 in safe cities.
Safe cities, number 3.
It's at a 3. So we got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the collaborative idea of getting everybody together and listening to what everybody has to say. And our guest that we had for another show, Dr. Theron Williams, talked about the different octaves.
Yeah.
You might have a different
Octave.
pitch or octave, but we all come together and we
To make that harmony.
harmonize. Yeah.
To harmonize this thing. And I think that's what it is. I mean, you can't be afraid. Jesus did not do it. When he would address issues, we use the term speaking truth to power, but he did that. But let me give you another term. He was not concerned about what people thought of him as an individual, because he was going to speak the right word at the right time to the right people.
Amen. That's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
And let me do a little cross promotion here. You can hear more of Dr. Moore on the Morning Fellowship. Since we were here, you've started that during COVID.
Yeah,
actually.
COVID is a show that been
On
in
your
place.
Facebook page.
Yeah, on my face. Go to Wayne Moore Facebook page. Catch me in the morning. We'll be talking about real pertinent issues, sensitive issues.
Yeah.
Just like we do here.
Doing a good job too.
Thank you, man. Thank you so
it's
much.
Done in excellence. So we've got the wrap up coming with Curtis Baker. He'll be with us here in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson.
I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, the co-host.
And I'm Curtis Baker, your producer to this fine, fine show.
Thank you.
Hey,
And it's fine in part because of these
our
sponsors.
sponsors, Tamiko Associates, she's your girl for real estate. Martin University, Marion County Public Health Department, Northside Window and Gutter Cleaning, Lee Castle and Crawley. Fervent Care Christian Academy, Owl's Modern Clothing and Shoes, plus His Place Eatery. You can find me there every Friday
Every
for
Friday?
that fish Friday,
Every Friday.
Catfish Friday,
Every Friday.
every Friday. You want to find me, that's where I'm going to be at.
We ought to do a show from there.
We ought to do a show from there.
I'm serious, man.
No, seriously, we ought to do a show from there.
On a Friday. Well,
Well, we can do it. on
tape
any
it on
day.
Friday.
Tape
I
it.
guess. Yeah.
You know, but before we get out of here, I just want to commend you two for the great job that you do bringing the information to our community. And Pastor Moore, I also want to commend you on a new project that you've had for the past few months called the Morning Fellowship
Yeah.
with Pastor Wayne Moore.
Yeah.
And it's, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, please check it out. It's on Facebook Live every morning at 8 o'clock. A little bit before my time when I get up, but I check it out about 8:30.
And we'll see you all later.